Chris Kurzik from the Bandura system, and I've made this video as sort of an introduction to the Bandura. I made this video because often when I play for the public at concert events, I get questions about what is this instrument, and so on. And there's a lot of curiosity. And of course, during a concert event, one is quite busy setting up and taking down, and there's sometimes 3 or 4 people asking questions. So I thought I would make this video and put some nice pictures in to give people sort of an introduction to the Bandura. I hope you enjoy the Bandura, and I welcome your comments.
Okay, a little bit about the Bandura, an overview. The Bandura is a plucked, multi-stringed folk instrument of Ukrainian origin. It is similar in construction to the European lute, as determined by the Hornbostel-Sachs classification system. The instrument is unfretted, not like a guitar, but more like a harp. And when it's plucked, it plays a specific note. All strings are metal, and the quantity of the strings varies with the type of bandura, but typically the more common banduras are between 55 to 65 strings. Plucking with varying degrees of force is how dynamics of loudness and softness is achieved. The typical range is about 5 octaves, but of course this varies from instrument to instruments, as we'll find out later in the slide. Okay, a very brief early history of the bandura. The bandura can trace its origins back to the lute-like predecessor known as a kobza. So it hasn't always been called a bandura up until recently. Historically, it's called a kobza. The first reference of the bandura was found in the Polish written chronicles of 1441. The bandura was popularized by the Ukrainian Cossacks and continued to be played by blind musicians known as kobzaryi. And the image shown is a very famous kobzari by the name of Meme, and several hundred years ago, and there's a lot of illustrations, and there's been a great deal of scholarly work written about the early history, and if you want to know more, that's certainly available. Okay, a little bit about the modern history. The modern history has been, if anything, has been quite turbulent with wars and many transitions of government. But during the 20th century, the instrument really evolved. The bandura evolution was influenced by Ukrainian nationalistic desire to revitalize the culture of bandura playing and to improve the quality of the bandura sound and the range and the playability and of course the enjoyability. Now there are 3 types of general groups of banduras out there. There's the folk bandura, the Kyiv Bandura, and the Kharkiv Bandura. The first one shown is the classical Starovitska, which is also called the old style traditional bandura. It's the oldest of the group. The second one is called a Kyiv Chernihiv Bandura, or it's also called an academic bandura. And it's the bandura that I started playing with. And then the third one is called a Kharkiv Bandura, and it's also a very popular bandura. A little bit about the old style bandura, the Starovitska. It's a rarely used instrument nowadays, but however, there's a very active movement dedicated to reviving and preserving this instrument. This instrument, as you can see, has wooden pegs and is traditionally made before metal pins came into use and more modern materials. This instrument has 20 strings with wooden pegs, and it has diatonic tuning. And there are 4 to 6 bass strings and 16 to 18 treble strings. So they're a gorgeous instrument, and you can see the workmanship that goes into this kind of instrument here. A bit more on the Starovitska Bandura, a little bit more particular how it's made because it's pretty interesting. This instrument is actually cut from a solid piece of wood, which is unheard of nowadays. Pretty much any instrument you see, guitar, whatever, they're all made out of laminated pieces of wood. Even the modern banduras are made out of, laminated pieces of wood. And you can see how it's hewn from an axe. So there's a great deal of workmanship that goes into it. And then it's kept refining until you get to the final piece. Let's talk about the Kyiv style bandura. The Kyiv style bandura goes under several different names, and it's also called an academic bandura. It's also called a Chernev bandura. It depends on where it was made, but the style of bandura, the overall name, is referred to as a Kyiv bandura. Here's some interesting statistics I've put down here, just so you can get an idea of the dimensions and the weights, and the number of strings on the bandura. And you'll notice that there's 2 basic groups. There's a standard bandura, which I learned how to play on, and this is my bandura. And then there's also the concert one, which has ability to change keys. And of course, when you add the mechanism, it adds an extra couple pounds. The newer banduras are getting lighter and lighter, and the musicians prefer to have a lighter bandura. A bit of background of the origins of the Kyiv style bandura. It was actually located, here's a map here showing you where in Ukraine the instrument originated from. In the Chernihiv region, it was taken from that region. It was a region of where Cossacks lived, and the culture, and it was brought later to Kyiv, and that's why the name Kyiv Bandura. The thing I've noticed about banduras is there are a lot of bandurists that love to decorate their banduras with art. So I thought I'd give you a few pictures of images that I've seen over the years. There's a bandura with a back with beautiful colors of flowers. And this is another style of bandura. Banduras are built to be beautiful. And here's some of the other designs of the Kyiv bandura. Here's an older style bandura from the restored from the 1950s and 60s. And here's a bandura that I've seen with painted and beautified. The next slide I have is a little bit about how banduras are made. These pictures are from the factory that we found. One thing that strikes you about a bandura is how heavy the frame is. And you ask, well, why? Well, it's because there's a large number of strings on a bandura. Remember, we said there was over 55 to 65 strings, which puts a lot of force on a bandura. So you can see that the frame is really heavy. But over the years, they've improved the techniques and they've modernized, and you can see the laminated parts on the back where the wood is laminated together, and to create a better quality instrument. You can see also that inside of a bandura, they add even more stiffening to ensure that the instrument does not creep with time, and the instrument is long lasting and durable. The third style of bandura is a Kharkiv Bandura, and I admit I am not an expert at the Kharkiv Bandura. Now, a little bit about the Kharkiv Bandura. I've put a map out here to show you where in Ukraine the Kharkiv Bandura originated from. It is from the Kharkiv region, and it's more to the eastern part. I have a photo gallery of different images of Kharkiv Banduras. Now, what's interesting about Kharkiv Bandura is you're more able to play the treble side. This Bandura, it's more suited for one to play with their left and their right hand on the treble side of the Bandura. The treble side meaning the high notes, where Kyiv Bandura, the left side plays the bass and the right side traditionally plays the treble. Now, the newer style banduras, like the Prima, which is a Kyiv style bandura, has some Kharkiv properties, so it allows you to play with some more variety of music. Now, I want to talk a little bit about retune mechanisms on banduras. There are actually a couple different types of retune mechanisms. There's the concert style and there's the prima style mechanism. The one on the left is the more traditional one, and it allows you to banduras to play on seven different keys. It makes the bandura heavier, but it allows a bandura player to play more easily different keys and quicker, and it's very popular for experienced bandura players. The one that I have that I thoroughly enjoy is the Prima style bandura, where the keys are actually mounted at the end, and this is similar to the mechanisms that you would find on a harp. Now, there's also a lot of rare banduras that you'll see popping up. There's a Poltavka bandura, which is a Kyiv Kharkiv hybrid bandura, in the attempts of making even a better sounding, better quality, the ultimate bandura for the best quality sound. And then there's a piccolo bandura, and then there's a bass banduras or bass banduras, and they're used to improve the low and the high side of the bandura. When there's an ensemble of many bandura players, they want to improve the sound, so they may use a specialty instrument like a piccolo bandura or a bass bandura. Next one is an electric bandura, which is an electrified bandura, like an electric guitar, which is really cool. And it's a really neat instrument. It uses electric strings, and it's an electric guitar, and it's very cool. If you're interested in learning more, I'd love to hear from you, or you have any comments. If you're interested in the Bandura Musician Handbook to learn more about banduras, you can send me an email and we get in contact. This book is intended for musicians, and I can be found on YouTube. Please subscribe on Facebook as well, and please subscribe to the Bandura system. We use any resources we have to improve the quality of information for Bandura players. And we're a proud member of the League of Skilled Banduras. Thank you very much for your time.